Hello, guys and gals, and this is gotta get this all ready here, part 3 of our reading of Pokemon Visual Guide by Chris Silvestri and Katherine Fang. In the last episode, we basically saw how tall Pokemon were. That's basically where we left off. And we saw how Sandshrew stood up against Snorlax and how big Wailord really was, like how many feet and stuff. And I thought that was really a fascinating thing. I wonder if they'll ever do that with weight, because that would be kind of neat. Now we are how to find and catch Pokemon. We are going to get right back into this since we have a lot of ground to cover. Every new trainer can visit a Pokemon professor to receive a first Pokemon, but catching more Pokemon isn't as easy. While Pokemon are easy to find, at least if a trainer isn't choosy, it's learning the art of capture that takes time. In addition to a first Pokemon, each trainer normally receives several Pokeballs. There's more to catching Pokemon than just throwing a Pokeball. Unless injured, weak, or willing to be caught, a wild Pokemon is normally too strong to be caught without battling it first to tire it out. A trainer must remember to first click the button on the front of the Pokeball to expand it to normal size. The Pokeball is then thrown at the target Pokemon, but even if the Pokemon is absorbed inside the Pokeball, it doesn't mean the capture is complete. The Pokeball rocks back and forth, and its button will grow red while capture is in progress. Once the Pokeball chimes and the button returns to its normal white color, the Pokemon is complete. The capture is complete, rather. If the capture fails, the Pokemon reopens and the Pokeball reopens and the Pokemon is once again released. Odds are it won't be keen on sticking around to facilitate another capture attempt. And there is a Swinub. When a Pokemon just doesn't want to be caught. That is a Rhydon, and the odd thing about Rhydon is it can learn Surf, which is kind of funny considering it is a water ground. It is like a ground type or something, but it's because rhinos, some of the rhinos like water, and it's based off of a rhino. When a Pokemon just doesn't want to be caught, some Pokemon will swat away any Pokeball thrown in their direction, while others will avoid any attempt to battle and catch them. It can take true persistence to convince a reluctant Pokemon to stick around. When Petra wants to battle a swimming Rhydon that she needs to finish constructing a tunnel, she has to chase it multiple times and get it to battle her, only after clinging to it so stubbornly that she nearly drowns. Fishing. Not all Pokemon can be found on land. Large numbers of Pokemon prefer aquatic habitats, so a different approach is required. Fishing. With a fishing rod and a lure. All that's needed is to find a nearby promising body of water, throw out a line, and wait for a bite. Of course, as with any other capture, once you hook a Pokemon, you still have to subdue and catch it. Otherwise, like this Octillery, it'll simply scurry around and then leap back in the water. And then there's the Octillery. Where to find Pokemon? Pokemon can be found in just about anywhere, but most trainers head to the wilderness to look for them. Some Pokemon are more common than others, and thus easier to catch. They can be found hanging from trees, standing in the grass, or even just nosing across a forest path. Pokemon aren't always so obliging as to hang around in the open waiting to be caught, so special lures or strategies are sometimes called for. A trainer's Pokemon may know moves that can help by putting out a bait, and waiting can work too. Owned Pokemon. Let's see, it says here. From time to time, a trainer accidentally tries to catch a Pokemon that's already owned by another trainer. If a Pokemon has already been captured, it can't be caught by using another Pokeball on it. That's true. Actually, in game, if you throw a Pokeball, then it will bounce off, or the Pokemon will swat it away. I've seen that happen, like during a playthrough. Someone will forget that they're, battling another trainer, and it's kind of funny. It should be noted that a Pokeball that is thrown, you'll get back. It won't negate the Pokeball. Friendship. Sometimes wild Pokemon take an interest in people and are actually interested in accompanying a trainer. Ash and his friends have caught plenty of Pokemon this way, but even if a Pokemon wants to accompany a trainer, it typically wants to battle that trainer first. Ash's Turtwig wanted to tag along with him, and Ash observed proper trainer protocol by first having a friendly battle with it. Okay. Trading. Pokemon trainers often trade Pokemon with each other, whether it's because they see a Pokemon they like or think a Pokemon will do better with someone else. Trade machines are found at special events and Pokemon centers, and they all accomplish the same thing, swapping Pokemon between two different Pokeballs. Trainers insert the Pokeballs, holding the Pokemon they want to trade in the machine, and it does the rest. It says, in Johto Town of Pampona, an annual festival is a great opportunity for people to show off and trade Pokemon. And there we have a Swalot. No, I mean what's that called? Gulpin. That's it. When they were young, even the best trainers sometimes have a rocky start. It's not uncommon for a few mistakes to be made at the beginning. Okay. It says here, Ash's first catch. Caterpie was the first Caterpie was the first Ash ever caught. Excuse me. And he did it just by using a Pokeball. But before that, he tried to catch a Pidgey, a Pokemon that's normally easy for beginners to get without having Pikachu battle it. After using a Pokeball, then a shirt, and finally a rock, he learned his lesson when he brained a wild Spearow by mistake and incurred its wrath. Yeah, I remember that. That was in Pokemon I Choose You. May's first catch. Hoping to someday have a gorgeous Beautifly, May chases down a Wurmple and tries to catch it with Torchic's help, but one hit from Torchic isn't enough. Wurmple escaped from the Pokeball and attacked Torchic, fearing a repeat performance of her first attempt to catch an Azurill, in which she failed miserably. She has Torchic attack again with Ember. This time Wurmple is tired enough that May makes a successful catch on her second try. Dawn's first catch. Ash tries to coach Dawn through her first catch, but they got on each other's nerves, and the Pokemon easily escaped. The next time around, Dawn tries to get a Baneri, but it easily overpowers her, Piplup. On her second try, she was prepared for Baneri's attacks and managed to subdue it with Piplup so she could make the catch. Okay. Moving on. Nurse Joy. We're going to learn out more about Nurse Joy. Now, we learned a little bit about Nurse Joy when we talked about Pokemon Centers, but this is more information. Every Pokemon Center needs a nurse, and everyone has the same nurse, Nurse Joy. These nurses are actually identical members of the same family. Brock's Google-eyed love of Nurse Joy doesn't stop them from their initial duties to help care for and protect Pokemon. Joy to the world. Nurse Joys have been known to act as assistants to the professors from time to time, handing out Pokemon to able trainers when there is no professor available to do so. The Nurse Joy in Slateport City has handed out Trico, Mudkip, and Torchic Pokemon to trainers. There's one group of Joys that is different from the others. These would be the Nurse Joys who reside in the Orange Islands. The Orange Island Nurse Joys are a little leaner and a little more tanned. Island living does that. They aren't above traveling. There is a traveling clinic going from small island to small island in the Orange Archipelago when resources are tight. Not your typical nurse. Nurse Joy can be a lot of things besides nurses. Nurse Joy can be a lot of besides nurses. Okay. Ash has been rescued by an undercover official Pokemon League inspector who also happened to be a Nurse Joy. Ash and friends go on a rescue mission for a Nurse Joy that is actually kidnapped by a menacing Shiftry. After battling against gangs of Seedot, Nuzleaf, and Oddish, they face down the Shiftry and find that it is merely trying to help an injured Nuzleaf. Nurse Joy attends to the Pokemon, wiping down the chlorophyll from one of its appendages. Ash, Misty, and Brock come across a deep-sea diving Nurse Joy in charge of the Lake Lucid Pokemon Center. She also happens to be a star among trainers who love water-type Pokemon. However, she turns out to be the least compassionate Nurse Joy you'll ever meet. She can't bear to be around water Pokemon unless she's wearing her deep-sea suit. And it says here, judge not lest ye be joy. Pokemon contests and contests where Pokemon are judged by how strong or how beautiful they are. One of the judges in these contests is usually a Nurse Joy. Active duty. Nurse Joy even has a memorable turn as a protector of Pokemon legend. She leads an expeditionary team to research the healing properties of Kabuto shells, when it is later learned that the Kabuto will rise and return to the sea. She does everything she can to protect them and get Ash to safety. That's some nurse. Now, let's learn about Officer Jenny. Another loyal civil servant is Officer Jenny. Officer Jenny, like Nurse Joy, is not one entity, but many who share the name. She shares other traits with Nurse Joy as well. They are all female. They exist to serve and protect Pokemon, and the only one who can tell them apart is the love-stricken Brock. Jenny to the rescue. Jenny to the rescue. Growlithe isn't the only Pokemon Officer Jenny uses, depending upon the situation and the area she is from. She could have many types of Pokemon helpers. While in Catalia City, Ash and crew meet up with an Officer Jenny whose ancestor caught a thief using a loyal Spinarak. Since then, all Officer Jennies in Catalia City use Spinarak as their main Pokemon. Likewise, in Wobbuffet Village, on their way to Ecruteak City, the Officer Jenny has a Wobbuffet at her side. Sometimes Pokemon are used in very specific circumstances. Ghastly psychic powers are used by Officer Jenny to hunt down the person or persons responsible for turning Pokemon against their trainers. Elsewhere, we are introduced to Officer Jenny, who enlists the aid of a Pidgeot to track down Team Rocket and Ash's Pikachu. Most recently, Officer Jenny in Eterna City, in the Sinnoh region, uses a Stunky as her partner Pokemon to disable Team Rocket with poison gas. Okay, Squirtle Squad. When the Squirrel Squad was first formed, it was nothing but a source of trouble, and Officer Jenny soon became involved. The Squirrel Squad then became very effective firefighting crew under her tutelage. And let's see, partner, perfect. Like Chansey and Blissey for Nurse Joy, every Officer Jenny needs a helpful Pokemon sidekick. Loyal, fierce, and dedicated, that Pokemon helper is Growlithe. Although Officer Jenny tries to uphold the law, she is hampered by understaffing. If she has more Jennies on her side, couldn't she easily stop Team Galactic, Team Aqua, Team Magma, or Team Rocket? Probably. It says, Officer Jenny's cap, much like Nurse Joy's, is one way to tell them apart. Different regions have different symbols. I didn't realize that, but cool. Okay, we're going to read about supernatural Pokemon. This ought to be fun. Pokemon are behind many unexplained happenings and hauntings in the Pokemon world, but it's a world where anything can and often does happen. Even people have been known to possess spooky psychic powers. Okay, let's read about Ghastly. It says here. Ghastly, ghost of Maiden's Peak. Over 2,000 years ago, a maiden fell in love with a young man who sailed off to war. She promised to await his return, but waited in vain until she finally turned into the stone known as Maiden's Rock. At least, so goes the legend of one of Kanto's seaside towns. Her portrait now hangs in the shrine near Maiden's Rock, and a local Ghastly disguises himself as both a local crone and the Maiden's ghost to keep the stories alive to honor the real Maiden spirit. Brock and James are bewitched by an illusion of the Maiden, and soon they can think of nothing else but her. In its guise as an old woman, Ghastly then sells Ash and his friends paper charms that are supposed to keep the Maiden ghost at bay. When Jesse decides to confront the Maiden's ghost, Ghastly uses the powers to unleash a swarm of frightening apparitions. Fortunately, this Ghastly is weak against sunlight, so the break of dawn drives it away, but only until next year's summer festival. I do remember that episode. I have seen that one. We're going to read about Zatu foretelling the future here, and then we'll read about Ninetales. It is said that Zatu can look backwards and forward in time, and their insight is vitally important to Callista, one of the long line of people who interpret Zatu's prophecies. Even though Callista has access to high-tech weather center, Callista's people rely on the Zatu to forecast the weather. But Zatu uses their wings to speak in a form of semaphore, and Callista translates their gestures into predictions. The Zatu long ago predicted that a flood would one day destroy everything in its path, ending Callista and the Zatu's duties. Just as they prophesied, a torrent of water sweeps through the canyon and an amphitheater where people once gathered to witness the Zatu. But thanks to the Zatu's foretelling and their ability to use teleport, no one was injured by the disaster. Haunted Ninetales. Lost in a deep mist, Ash and his friends meet a girl named Lococo and her faithful Ninetales. Lococo invited them all to stay at her house, a palatial mountain, otherwise devoid of residents. The mansion's owner left home long ago, and all the staff except for Lococo have quit and gone away. Brock is instantly at home thanks to Ninetales' affection and Lococo's lavish hospitality. When Lococo asks him to stay for good, he's ready to accept. On the other hand, Ash and Misty are spooked by Lococo's lack of reflection, or even a corporeal body, and Brock's obliviousness to how his clothes have suddenly changed. The key to the mystery lies in an old-fashioned Pokeball and a photo of a man who looks just like Brock, except that the man was the mansion's owner from over 200 years ago. The truth is revealed. For over a century and a half, Ninetales has waited for its master, during which time it gained the power to create the illusion of Lococo. Although deeply lonely, it could never bear to leave, and instead tried to bewitch Brock into staying. It's not until Brock breaks Ninetales' antique Pokeball that it is finally free to leave the mansion. Okay, now then, this page. Secret Lives. Pokemon professors have only scratched the surface of the mysteries of Pokemon. Evolution, migration patterns, communication, social structure. These are just some aspects of Pokemon life that still pose intriguing questions. The Blue Moon Ritual of the Quagsire. Johto's Cherry Grove City prohibits the battling and capturing of Quagsire, since the presence of Quagsire indicates a human where the cleanest water can be found. Once a year during the full moon, masses of Quagsire swim down the river that runs from Blue Moon Falls into the city. They grab any round object they can find and return upstream. The locals tolerate this because all the missing items float back downstream the next day, and it's good luck if your item is returned. Whoever owns the last thing that floats back downstream is considered the luckiest of all. No one in Cherry Grove City knows what the Quagsire want with all those round things, but Ash, May, and Brock have seen the Quagsire's secret with their own eyes. The Quagsire take the items back upstream, where they gather in large numbers and watch the moon until just the right moment. Acting on some unknown cue, the Quagsire then toss around objects in the air and blow water jets to shoot the objects towards the moon. They seem to celebrate when a Quagsire shoots the item higher than the rest. The Secret Garden of the Bulbasaur. We're going to read this little green passage later. Conventional trainer wisdom says that Pokemon usually level up by battling, but for Pokemon, and especially wild Pokemon, evolution is sometimes part of a natural cycle. At a certain time of the year, Bulbasaur from all over the world gather at a secluded part of Kanto known as the Mysterious Garden. These Bulbasaur are ready to evolve. During this time, the presence of the Bulbasaur causes plants in the area to bloom unnaturally quick. The Venusaur who lives in the garden leads the evolution. Beginning with the form of call and response between Venusaur and the gathering Bulbasaur. When the moment is right, the Bulbasaur all evolve, unless, like Ash's Bulbasaur, they defy the crowd and refuse to become an Ivysaur. It says here, the mysterious garden seems to be nothing more than a field with a barren tree in the center, but soon the Pokemon cause the entire area to burst into fresh blossoms. Inside the tree lives a Venusaur who leads the evolution ceremony. Okay. Starstruck. I'm going to make sure. Okay. Starstruck. After Meowth saw a screening of That Darn Meowth, it was so entranced that it headed west in search of the wonderful food it saw in the film. But Meowth isn't the only one in the Pokemon world who's been affected by the media. There are plenty of stars and celebrities who have crossed paths with Ash and his friends. There's DJ Mary. DJ Mary is Poke Radio's famous radio host, broadcasting live from Goldenrod City. She's a real pro who's good at easing her guests' stage fright. She also works together with Professor Oak on his own Poke radio show. The two of them have done several live broadcasts from towns in the area. Poke Talk Radio's enthusiastic producer doesn't just stay in the studio. He'll even go out himself to grab interviewees. Everyone who wins a Plains badge is interviewed on the show, so he goes to find Ash in person and asks him to come to the station. Okay. Now we have Fiorella Cappuccino. Fiorella is not just a movie star, co-host, and the queen of the Princess Festival contest. He's also the prize. In addition to a set of rare dolls, the winner receives a photo together with Fiorello. He's a perfect pick for the Princess Festival since all the ladies just love him. There's also Clyben Spellbunk, winner of the Golden Growlet for Best Director. Spellbunk is an artiste who's prone to melodrama. He takes a break from directing people to direct Pokemon in Love, a tragic Pokemon romance starring a prima donna Wigglytuff and Misty Psyduck. Spielbank also directed I Saw What You Ate Last Tuesday, which was a big hit with Brock, but a big flop at the box office. And oh, this is cute. Here's Brad Van Darn. Cooler than Articuno and hotter than Moltres. That's how the previews describe Brad Van Darn, star of action films such as Ultra Maximum. Behind the tough guy image is a man who dotes on his smoochum, which upsets his manager, which happens to be Brad's image. If his frenzied female fans saw him toting around a tiny kissing. What would happen to Brad's image if his frenzied female fans saw him toting around a tiny kiss Pokemon? That's right. Okay. Ultimately, Brad decides he can't give up his precious Smoochykins. Smoochum always supported him during his early days when he was washing dishes to earn meals and struggling through dance lessons. But Brad demonstrates some real-life heroics to save Smoochum from Team Rocket during a live stage show. The fans go wild with delight. Now Brad and Smoochum act in films together and are more popular than ever. Fun and games. Sports and athletics are always popular in the Pokemon world, even when the athletics involve Pokemon instead of people. Most of the time, Pokemon shouldn't be playing, but there are some exceptions. Baseball. Baseball is a big sport with passionate fans, none more passionate than Ash's friend Casey. She's a diehard fan of the Electabuzz, but the team was known for its losing ways during Ash's Johto journeys. Perhaps because they're lost during starting pitcher. They lost their starting pitcher, Corey DeMario, to a shoulder injury. Corey's absence helped turn the Electabuzz from first in the league to a team of a 10-game losing streak. But Casey would later help Corey regain his confidence to get back on the mound. Other baseball teams include the Starmie, who play out of Cerulean City, and the questionably named Magikarp. Pokemon Sumo. What's Pokemon Sumo? Like the actual sport of sumo, it's a one-on-one grappling match between Pokemon using nothing more than sheer physical power. Pokemon Sumo is the favorite sports of a small village in Johto. The art was developed by local trainers who were big fans of human sumo wrestling. Trainers in the village breed Pokemon just for sumo wrestling. Pokemon must weigh at least 80 kilograms in order to compete. The town even has its own Pokemon Sumo Society and the annual Pokemon Sumo Conference, which has been held for over 35 years. The winner receives a King's Rock and a year's supply of Pokemon food. And we are to surfing. Islands like Kanto's Seafoam Islands and Hoen's Dewford Island are home to big waves and the surfers who love them. People do most of the surfing, but Pokemon can get in on the fun too. Brawly, the Dewford gym leader, has trained his Makuhita to surf, and Puka, the blue-eyed Pikachu, rides a surfboard together with its human friend Victor. Seafoam Islands and Humungadunga. The tsunami-sized wave called Humungadunga strikes Seafoam Island once every 20 years, an event that fills surfers' hearts with excitement. There's a tall rock spire just offshore that surfers love to ride past it and see how high on the rock they can plant their flag. Extreme Pokemon. Extreme Pokemon races are the most popular sport of Exeter, a small Johto town. The type of racing involves a person riding a skateboard pulled by a harnessed Pokemon. Exeter holds an annual Extreme Pokemon race with the Golden Pokeball Trophy as a prize. The course leads out of town and out to the Shelby Ranch, where competitors pick up a dummy Pokemon egg and then bring it back to the starting line using any route they wish. We are going to end this here. We are going to pick this up with an overview of Kanto and stuff like that. Anyways, we have been reading Pokemon Visual Guide by Chris Silvestri and Katherine Fang. This is a wonderful book, and this is Chapter 3. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I upload. And if you want to support me in any way, all that information will be in the description below. As always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.